Only a few weeks ago, Dead by Daylight dropped by far its biggest chapter of all time, Cinco Noches on Alfredo. And it's already gotten some very mixed receptions. Are they valid? Are they not valid? Let's talk about it.
Let's spend 5 nights at Freddy's.
So first things first, this video will have 2 rules. The first thing is you have to realize I am a console pleb, so I have no access to the PTB, which means any and all footage will be taken from different creators in a very stylish way that makes you not think it's theft and will of course be appropriately credited, and the video will be in different sections to make it much more digestible so that all of the nerds on Twitter and TikTok and Reddit, can't forget Reddit, can just take this video apart as they please. So let's start off with the first section and the biggest section. The man who's always coming back, the man who is always springing that trap, Mr. Five Nights at Freddy's.
I always come.
So let's first of all talk about the power. You know, the main thing with this chapter. I think it is a 10 out of 10 power. I don't think they could have done it any better in any single way. First things first, the fire hatchet. Oh, but French, it's just a combination of the unknown and Hunter. Shut up! Look at that thing. That thing is awesome, bro. And it introduces 2 new mechanics. The first thing is it is a ranged killer that has an AoE of information, so you can play in 2 very different ways. Either you can try to knock people's heads off with the axe, or you can use the axe purely for information, which Unknown can't do because Unknown sucks. And 2, you can obviously hit survivors and then grab them. This is a very controversial part of the power that I think is just blatantly sick, and I will not address any further. The fact that you can just run up to survivors, scream in their face, and then just put them on your shoulder, which prevents flashlight saves, give this killer a bit of tech, you know, a little bit of the sauce, if you please. And again, just looks fantastic with Afton screaming at you instead of springtrap, gives them that ability to show off the model a bit more, you know, the little bit of fromage they put on it, instead of it just being springtrap and not showing the inner Afton, the monster within, the beast inside of me. They show off the full model with his jump scares and all of his animations, where, you know, in other FNAF 3 games, Afton basically just doesn't exist within the costume and you almost never see them. However, the reason these grabs have become so controversial is like, oh, it's basically an insta-down hatchet. Just hold W, bro. Overcome is going to be your best friend. Honestly, with Kaneki running around and Springtrap having that potential, Overcome is going to be your best friend. But of course, the problem becomes, what if the killer is just 20 times faster than you? Springtrap is a killer that has the unique ability to be moving at 2 different movement speeds at once. He goes from 110 when he has the hatchet aimed up or when he has the hatchet available to 115 when he throws it into space, which again is very unique, but does, you know, make speed builds much more present and much more potentially dangerous. Take the add-on Foxy's Hook, where apparently Springtrap just ripped off Foxy's hook to snort cocaine and also make the other survivors snort cocaine because you get 20% faster. Both of you, which is extremely cool and actually gives Springtrap a pseudo clown power if you have that out and you throw it on the ground and you have 20% that survivors just can't take advantage of while they wonder why you're springing it in a corner, and then you fucking zoom around the corner and kill them. And then, you know, Friends to the End, Furtive Chase has already been brought up and all that good stuff. That could be a little bit dangerous, but I'm gonna say it right here and now. You heard it from me first, except you didn't because everyone's been saying this. Foxy's Hook is 100% getting nerfed. There's no chance that add-on stays as it does. They're probably just gonna bring it down to like 10% so it's less influential and avoid speed stacking going absolutely off the walls balls crazy. So yeah, I think the hatchet is an extremely unique and cool chase power that has a lot more weight to it. It's not like Unknown where it bounces off of shit, or Huntress where it's just a straight line forward. It has a weight, it has a trajectory, and he's one of the few killers where you can aim your power up in the air and it might actually do something. So you can just stare off into the sky like a seagull, and that's tech, apparently. So, Fire Hatchet, very good. Now, let's get on to the doors. Not the Roblox game, the Dead by Daylight game. This is by far the most interactive killer power we have seen of ever. No longer is it just run right and left to dodge a ranged power. It is look on cameras to scan Springtrap and IP ban him from the server. It's also, I'm gonna traverse across the map for a flashlight save whenever the fuck I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it is so cool that they thought about survivor gameplay instead of just thinking about the killer gameplay. I'm looking at you, Houndmaster. And then, no, the glaze isn't finished. Springtrap can go into said fart-clouded backrooms and grab your ass.
I've been roaming around, always looking down.
It is an amazing power that feels just like the games and gives survivors that same FNAF feeling, you know? It really immerses them. It really gives them the exaggerated swagger of a Five Nights at Freddy's security guard. And you can nod in the cameras, like, come on, you're telling me this isn't peak cinema? I'm thinking they did a pretty good job so far. Overall, I think this is the best, let me repeat that for dramatic effect, the best licensed implemented killer power we have ever seen. Ever seen. So overall, the model looks great, the voice lines are amazing, the skins are also very good, which I didn't mention, but they are, you know, top notch. Besides Glitchtrap's weird beer belly, but that aside, what are people actually mad about if the power is so top notch? Well, that's where the argument begins in section 2. Section 2, of course, centers around the map. I can't help behavior on this one. I think the map was a ever so slight toss. I think people are being very extreme with how much of a toss it was, but it's a bit of a toss, I'm not gonna lie. So first things first, the FNAF part is incredible. The animatronics, you know, doing their little jig on the stage when you get the gen done, they look really accurate. The loops inside are very fun, very interesting looking. The little jump scares and unique Easter eggs, incredible. But I can't help but feel that this would have been way better if it was just an entire map. A lot of people have excused it by saying, you know, oh, everybody hates indoor maps, and no, they don't. This is the 10th anniversary chapter, man. Suck it up. Why wouldn't you want Freddy Fazbear's horror animatronic faction? It would be great. It would be amazing. We said the same thing about the Alien chapter, and we got Nostromo shit wreckage. No one likes that map. Everybody would prefer if it was just a big ass ship. I don't care if it's confusing. Who cares if you're dashing through the halls or you're looping a jungle gym? Both things are very inaccessible to new players. Like, I think it's fine if we just got an entire new map, and it would have allowed for more unique jump scares, more unique loops, instead of just slapping the withered isle and shitting the Freddy Fazbear attraction in the middle of it. That's sadly how the map kind of feels. And again, more Foxy plushies and more cool ball pit loops with arcade slamming. That's fun. But when you get outside of the map, it's just like, oh, I'm in a withered isle, which has nothing unique to it. Everybody just wants to be in the FNAF part, so I'd say we get the FNAF part. So because of that, I think the map overall gets a 6 out of 10. The pizzeria is peakeria, absolute peak, absolute cinema. But the outside is just bland withered isle. But it does have a Foxy plushie, so I think that brings it up to a 7. Now for the third and final section. This one really grinds my gears, and always grinds my gears when a new chapter comes out. The community.
Am I twerking? Did you miss that? Do I need to get up and start shaking my ass?
I don't think I've ever seen more spoiled and disingenuous reactions to a chapter ever. There were some people saying they looked at Springtrap crawling through fart back rooms, you know, survivors going through cameras, him throwing hatchets with fireballs and jump scares and grabs and animations and voice lines, and said he was boring. Are you on some divine substance? And people still just sit here and say, oh, well, it's just unknown xenomorph, singularity, twins, and huntress mixed all into one killer. First of all, you just named 5 different killers, implementing 5 different powers in a unique way, which I don't really think feels like the originals, and changing key substances and gameplay about them is a very hard thing to do considering we're going on 10 years of the game, but the fact that Springtrap implements so many new mechanics and ways to play for both Survivor and Killer, I think just shoots that point in the foot. And I think that's just a very boring way to approach every chapter. And the other thing, which I think is a bit valid to kind of defend the community here, is the hype factor. We were waiting for this chapter for about a year, and the fact that the FNAF map isn't a full FNAF map, I think turned a few people away. But the killer is amazing, the map is pretty good, even if I wish it was a pizzeria. I don't see why people are so disappointed in it. I think Behavior did a very good job implementing the killer in the map, and there's so many people having fun with it. I think people are just being Debbie Downers and hating on something, A, because they had such a grand expectation in their head, and B, because frankly, Behavior sadly tries to cater to too many sides, and I think a lot of them have lost the plot. I'm not saying every single complaint about this chapter is wrong and spoiled, but some of them are so outlandish where it's like, you know, come on, let me shrug my shoulders and do my Adam Sandler face here for a bit. Overall, huge Behavior W, and I think we should really harbor this chance and take it to the bank and not give them the idea that we just want killer shoots, straight line, power forward, number 58, like this Skull Merchant rework, but let's talk about fun things at this point, and not cater to these people that do nothing but worry about the tug of war between killer-sided and survivor-sided. Boo, I'm a job application. And just, you know, send love letters to these franchises, bring them into the fog, so to speak, and truly enjoy them, which these people aren't doing. They're so miserable with the game, they go next all the time, which they literally had to add mechanics to change, by the way. I cannot believe they had to add mechanics from stopping people from quitting the game they queued up to play. These are not the people we should be, you know, catering towards. So overall, I think this is a super strong chapter with a lot of, you know, love to the FNAF franchise with all the Easter eggs, the multiple skins we got, the patch that was included where blood webs have been basically deleted, all the voice lines, and again, just so many homages and really good steps forward for, I guess, annual chapter releases that I think we should really be encouraging Behavior for in the future. Again, hopefully this video does shed some light on why this chapter doesn't have every single person in the community in hoopla. It's not everyone's cup of tea, which is valid. Some people are there just to complain, and I think a lot of people are just suffering the burnout of having such high expectations because of how long we had to wait for the hype. I think all of that combines for valid and invalid mixed reception, and I still think everybody realizes who's having fun with the game that this is a amazing chapter, but it could be way better if we nerfed Houndmaster.